joined today by Laura Woodley of Health Sense, and Laura is a naturopathic therapist. And I discovered Laura last year after I had a crazy breakout, and having had a history of acne actually for quite a number of years, I was determined that I was going to get this sorted. So I came to Laura for a food intolerance test, and I was so impressed by the quality of service and the value that I got from that experience, and the information that the testing and the information that came out of that testing process really helped me get things back on track. And the value that Laura gave me has been incredible in getting things back on track for me, and I'm so pleased that she's going to spend a little time with us today to share a little more information about what she does, in the hope that it can help others in the same way that it has helped me. So I'm going to pass you over and introduce you to Laura Woodley. You could explain a little bit about your background and what brought you to intolerance testing and naturopathic therapies.
I came into intolerance testing when I was suffering some health issues myself, and I knew there was something not quite right with lots of tummy aches and other issues that I had. And when I had the twins over 11 years ago now, I noticed a lot of the symptoms in them that I noticed in myself. And as a mother, it's really hard to ignore them symptoms. When it's yourself, it's easy to just kind of say, it's nothing or whatever. But when it's your babies, I felt like I really wanted to go on a mission to make sure that they weren't in any unnecessary pain. So I went to see the hospital, and they suggest doing elimination diet, which is food diaries. We spent a long time doing this. It was quite tedious, and obviously without the children being able to speak properly, they were very young. It was really difficult. I came across electro dermal screening, and I thought I would go and give it a try. At this point, I'd managed to figure out a lot of my intolerances. So I went along, not expecting very much at all. The appointment took about 45 minutes, and she whipped through a whole host of different substances, and at the end of it she told me about 7 or 8 key substances I had sensitivities to. And she had all the ones I knew about plus a couple more. I was quite shocked by the accuracy of it. So I went home and did what I knew best, was the elimination diet I'd been doing for so long. And she was right. Then other few came up as well. And then tummy aches that I couldn't figure out what I was getting, she was spot on. It was peppers and onions and things like that. So then I just really was quite excited by how quickly, that had taken me a couple of years of my life, and in 45 minutes she'd wrapped that up. So I really sort of looked into it, and I just thought I need to be a part of this. And a part of the process was I started giving other mothers advice, just from my little information. I know I'd studied it a bit, but it was lay person information at that point. And they would come back to me and say, "You'll never guess that information you gave me has really helped little Johnny," or whatever. And this really got me excited. I love to help people. I remember being a little girl thinking I'm going to be a nurse, and things like that. So it's within me to want to help anyway. And I then looked into the training to become an allergy intolerance therapist. I went away, did the training, came back, did sort of 100 people for free. Really got some experience there, and I didn't want to stop there. I was really interested in being able to help people further, which is how I got into naturopathy.
I love the philosophy behind this, because that's exactly the way the way that our one health and wellness kind of philosophy works as well, going back to nature, the naturopathic remedies and the approach and the philosophy behind that
absolutely.
As well, and I love that.
That's what I love about our one.
Thank you.
Natural.
Yeah. And could you maybe give an indication of the sorts of things that you're testing for when you use your testing kit, and when some people come to see you?
Sure.
What conditions would they have? What might flag up as signals for them that this could be something that would be of interest to them, or a worthwhile process for them to go through, and what sort of things do you test for?
Yeah, sure. So we test for over 100 substances within the first appointment, and this will cover lots of foods and drinks, the usual suspects like wheat and dairy, but lots of vegetables and fruits that can catch you out. Also, we do environmental toxins and artificial colours, flavours and preservatives. Also, really importantly, we check your vitamin and mineral levels too. So if anything's a little bit on the lower side, that will be picked up. And we also, on the return visit, test for pathogens, toxins, endocrine system, neurotransmitter and other organs as well, just to make sure everything's functioning perfectly.
And what sort of symptoms, I mean, from my background, the symptoms of what we found was displayed through a crazy breakout.
Sure.
But what other symptoms might draw people to come to do an intolerance testing?
Like you, Jenny, a lot of people come with issues on their skin. It can be rashes or rosacea or breakouts, spots on their skin. That's a really common complaint.
Yeah.
But also digestive issues are often, but actually, it can be down to things like, when the gut health is really poor, people are suffering from things like fibromyalgia and other autoimmune conditions. People are often being sick or just feel tired, struggling to lose weight. You name it, it potentially could be associated with a parasitic infection, or it could be associated with an intolerance. There's not many symptoms that come in, but with naturopathic treatment, you assess the person as a whole. We don't just look at the odd symptom here and there. We get a really big picture. We take down their family history and that sort of thing as well, and look at them as a whole, and then do the tests, and then build a really accurate picture from there about what needs to happen.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to ask you was just about the lymphatic system.
Sure.
Can we have a quick chat about that one, because that was something that came up when I came to see you, and could you explain a little bit about what it is, why it's important, why wild swimming, cold water showers, rebounding all help to support a healthy lymphatic system?
Yeah, sure. So the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, unlike the heart. So we must get the lymph fluid pumping through our body, and the best way to do this is by either shocking the body to contract the muscles and pushing that lymph fluid through. Another good way is rebounding. That weightlessness when you're bouncing on a trampoline really activates the lymph system. And it's important to keep that moving, to get the toxins out of our lymph nodes, to keep us healthy and happy.
So all of the testing that you do, are you able to do anything remotely, or is it all in person, or can you have conversations with people who might be at a greater distance, or how does that all work?
Sure, I offer online services, naturopathy sessions, so that's easily accessible via Zoom. Obviously, if you're quite a distance away, I prefer to see people in person because I can then test them, but obviously there's lots of advice and help that I can give online.
Great. And what other therapies and treatments do you offer?
I do offer pressor therapy also. Again, going back to the lymphatic system, this is a mechanical device that has air pressures. It's a suit. You have to get into this suit. It's quite snug. And mechanically, it fills air pockets and it releases them in a way that promotes your lymphatic system to work really well. We recommend kind of about 6+ sessions of this to really feel the benefits, but it's very nice to have. It's very relaxing.
It sounds
lots of benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So if you haven't got a cold water lake near you, and you're not a fan of cold showers, and you don't have a trampoline, then pressor therapy is for you.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. And do you think, just kind of thinking on the processes and behind modern living, really, where so many jobs are sedentary, sitting at a desk and what have you, do you think that's a major contributor to some of these other inflammations or inflammatory diseases and conditions that we're seeing? And people are not, obviously the lymphatic system is just one system in the body, but all these things plug together. How do you think that's affecting what you're seeing in terms of the clients that you're treating at the moment?
I know that we can get away with a lot more by exercising, and I do believe that's due to the lymphatic system being much more active. So if we are burdening ourselves with toxins, let's say alcohol or air pollutants, when we are exercising daily, we are pushing them toxins through much more quickly and effectively, eliminating the amount of inflammation our bodies will be suffering from. So if you're exercising regularly, you're going to get away with a lot more than you would if you were sedentary on a daily basis.
How does hydration affect that system as well? Again, thinking about the mechanics of what we hear so often in the press, if you like, and then also, you know, applying it directly to the systems of the body that we've been speaking about.
Sure, you're well hydrated is really important, and going back to the lymph system again, if we're lacking hydration, we've not got much fluid within our bodies, that lymph fluid will become stagnant and the toxins will retoxify us. They'll be hanging around, causing us, you know, pain and inflammation. So making sure you're really hydrated makes that process a lot quicker and less painful, so that fluid just moves through much more quickly, along with exercise and hydration. Absolutely is a really good way of keeping one's body healthy.
Could you tell us a little bit about the process behind the intolerance testing?
So this is the machine that I use. This is able to measure the electricity in your body, and how we do this is you hold this instrument in one hand, and then I touch an acupuncture point on the other hand, and we create a circuit. Now that circuit of your electricity or energy moves through here, and we take these substances one at a time. This is a potentized version of that substance. So this one, for example, is barley. So we'll place it within your flow of energy. First of all, we'll test your energy and we'll get a good reading of where that goes. Hopefully it'll sit nicely at about 80. Then we'll put the substance in, and then your energy will try and move through it. And if it moves through nicely, we'll get the same reading on here. And if it struggles, we'll see that needle struggle to move. And that, to me, is telling me that your body does not want that substance within it.
Yeah. Laura, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for sharing your experience and wisdom, and I hope that people will enjoy watching this and be informed by it and take action accordingly. And it's such an interesting, fascinating world that you move in. How can people get in touch with you, Laura?
People can get in touch with me via the website, www.health-sense.co.uk. Full information's on there, details of how to contact me and my availability, and the booking information is there too.
Great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's lovely to see you today, Jenny.
Great to see you too, Laura.